Hi everybody, welcome. I hope you guys are having a great night tonight. There's been a lot going on with Thabo Bester, and one of the things that came up or came out today is the fact that he does not have a South African ID. Okay, which is a surprise, honestly. This is what Uzimoja says. Authorities have come under fire following the discovery that the Facebook rapist and murderer Thabo Bester has no South African identity document. Home Affairs has said they don't have any records of his birth, so he's not recorded. Okay. Now, the thing is, then how do they know that this is Thabo Bester, the Thabo Bester that they're looking for? How do you confirm that when somebody is not a recorded uh, South African citizen? Okay, so it says here, however, the police are confident that the convicted rapist is South African. Okay, they're very confident. They're saying on Thursday, the Police Commissioner General Fanny Masimola told members of Parliament Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services that the police identified Bester by his fingerprints. Okay, so they had fingerprints in the with his criminal record. Okay, so those are the only records they had. So when they match his fingerprints now with those fingerprints, it matched. Okay, and okay, so they said Best's identity was verified by the Tanzanian authorities through fingerprints, and they also had the prints on their records. He said there are two other Thabo Besters whom the convict shared his identity with. Okay, so I guess that other Thabo Bester that came up to say, he is also Thabo Bester, his identity was stolen. Maybe he's one of the two that they're counting here. This person does not have an identity document, so the criminal records were the only way to confirm that it is indeed Bester. Okay, he is a South African. I like how they just want us to just take their word for it. Okay, these are the same authorities that wanted us to believe Ugutu Thabo Bester had died in a fire. Okay, they wanted us to believe it. We had to take their word for that. Now they're like, no, 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 forget that word, that original word that he died in the fire. Forget about it. It's this one. Okay, now they want us. They're like, no, 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 you don't need an ID. Just trust us. We say it's him, so believe it's him. Ooh, guys, don't they have space in Zimbabwe? Can't we just go and nigga there by Zimbabwe? Because, hey, I South Africa. So the person who served at the Mangaung Correctional Service is the same person the Tanzanian authorities arrested. Like, I don't have a problem with them saying, okay, fine, it's confirmed. But I have a problem with the fact that we just have to trust their word because we know what their word has done in the past. When he arrived here, we also ran fingerprints. He is also South African. He is a South African. He is Thabo Bester. Guys, this is a comedy. Just trust us. This is Thabo Bester. You don't need any confirmation here. Okay, fine. So, guys, he does not have an ID. I don't know, you guys. He might not have an ID, but where is the birth certificate? Because at some point, you have to register the birth of a baby. Valid to get an ID, you have to have a birth certificate. What happened to those documents? He does not have an ID, but what is the birth certificate? Why wouldn't his mom have uh, applied for his birth certificate? You guys, did she know from birth? See, this one was going to be to not or was going to need to be able to get around without an ID. Why didn't she get the birth certificate? Because at least they would have that record, you guys. So yes, he does not have an ID, but this is the thing that I have questions about, you guys, because 2 days ago there's an article on the South African where they are talking about how Thabo Bester owned like this multi-million mansion, not mansion, mansions. Okay, he has lived in multi-million mansions. He has over 3 billion worth of assets. Okay, he lived a very lavish lifestyle. um at some point he was supposed to be running these companies or pretending to be running these companies. He was getting around, you guys, but I feel like a lot of the things that they say that he did or he owned houses, he owned cars. How did he get to do all of those things without an ID? What ID was he using when he was doing all of those things, you know? Because in order to even to rent property you need an ID, even to buy property you need an ID, to buy a car you need an ID. So what IDs were he using? If you go into partnership with somebody, even if you are scamming somebody, but at some point you're going to be producing your ID copy or whatever. So how can they say right now that Thabo Bester owned a certain property if he did not have an ID? How did he even own property? They even go on to talk about the money that he has in different bank accounts, that now those bank accounts have been frozen. How did he open bank accounts without an ID? You know, they're talking about like 43 million here, uh, and in the HSBC account, 230 million in the NetWest account, as well as 872 million. Cishe ngaba uzuma ngingakwazi ukufunda inamba. In the ABSA account. ABSA, HSBC. Sicela ukubuza ukuthi how did he open the, like, if you say this is Thabo Bester's bank account, how did he open that bank account without the ID? Khona izinto engahlangani, guys. Khona izinto engahlangani, like, for real. So what ID was he using there? Was he using Tom's ID? That ID got Tom. If he was Tom, because phela ngithi in the recording he's being called Tom. If he was using Tom's ID, then they must find out what's happening there. Maybe that is his real name, kahle kahle Tom, you know. But anyway, you guys, that's what's happening. He does not have a South African ID. It might have been intentional on his side. I am just confused by the fact that he was able to do all of these things that require an ID document for you to do. Because you wouldn't be able to even, in the bank, when you walk in, they're like, ID number, you know. So there is some ID number that he has been using for him to, because for them to link ukuthi the bank account in one bank and the other bank belong to the same person, it will have to have been the same ID number. For them to say this house belongs to Thabo and this one to Thabo, this one to, there must be an ID number that is common with all of these properties, common with all of these cars, all of these expensive rentals that they were entering into Beno Nandipa. What is the ID number there? It does not make sense to say that he has never had an ID, but he was able to do all of these things that he is doing here. But also, you guys, if you are arrested, you don't have an ID, they have a way of, like they're saying they are sure that he's South African, just force the person to get the ID. Give him the ID number. Force him to give here is your ID. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Do you really believe that it does not have an ID? Anyway, and share this video with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Ntando. Cool.